Every modern engine depends on one tiny sensor to control timing, fuel delivery, and ignition accuracy. When it works, the engine feels perfect. When it doesn't, everything falls apart, starting issues, stalls, misfires, power loss, and sudden shutdowns. The problem? Most drivers can't tell these symptoms apart because they mimic dozens of other issues. That's why today's video reveals the 7 specific warning signs that almost always point to a failing crankshaft position sensor, so you can diagnose it before the engine leaves you stranded. Number 1. Check engine light. Code P0335. You're driving home from work. Everything feels normal, and suddenly, the check engine light turns on without warning. Many drivers ignore it, assuming it's just a loose gas cap. But when the light appears alongside subtle starting hesitation, it's often the first early clue that the crankshaft position sensor is beginning to weaken. This sensor monitors crankshaft rotation and sends precise timing information to the engine computer. When it begins to fail, the signal becomes inconsistent, triggering codes like P0335. Picture the engine computer trying to guess the crankshaft's position because its eyes are flickering. That uncertainty disrupts timing accuracy long before major symptoms appear. If this warning is ignored, other symptoms escalate quickly: rough running, random stalling, or even a complete no start. A simple scan tool check can help identify the code early before the problem grows. Drivers who recognize this first sign often avoid costly repairs, especially when the sensor begins sending erratic data without fully failing yet. Number 2. Hard start or no start. Imagine you're leaving a grocery store late at night, turning the key, and the engine cranks endlessly but refuses to fire. That sinking feeling usually comes before any dashboard warning. When the crankshaft sensor starts sending weak or delayed signals, ignition and fuel timing drift out of sync, making every start unpredictable. The sensor's job is to tell the computer exactly when to deliver spark and fuel. When that information becomes inaccurate, the combustion sequence collapses. Picture the engine trying to guess the right moment to ignite. Sometimes it succeeds after long cranking. Sometimes it doesn't fire at all, especially in extreme weather conditions. Ignoring hard starts allows the issue to snowball into a complete no start, leaving drivers stranded without warning. Many assume the battery, starter, or fuel pump is to blame, but a failing CKP sensor often mimics all three. Identifying this symptom early keeps the vehicle reliable and prevents long cranking from wearing other components. Number 3. Random engine stalling. You might be slowing for a red light or merging onto a highway when the engine suddenly dies without hesitation. These surprise stalls feel scary because they strike without pattern. They often happen when the crankshaft sensor momentarily loses its signal, causing the engine computer to shut down fuel and spark instantly. Since the CKP sensor tracks rotational speed and position, even a split-second interruption disrupts the entire combustion cycle. Imagine the sensor behaving like a flickering heartbeat monitor. When the signal drops, the engine's rhythm collapses. As the sensor deteriorates, these stalls progress from rare disturbances to frequent, dangerous interruptions while driving. If this warning sign is ignored, the stalling becomes more aggressive, potentially happening at intersections or during acceleration. That raises real safety concerns, especially in traffic. Watching your RPM gauge while driving can help you spot sudden, unexplained drops, because sensor interference often shows up instantly as a sharp, unexpected RPM dip. Early detection prevents towing bills and unsafe roadside breakdowns. Number 4. Rough idling and misfires. Rough idle and misfires happen when the crankshaft position sensor stops sending stable timing signals to the ECU. This sensor tells the computer exactly where the crankshaft is and when each cylinder should fire. When the signal becomes weak or inconsistent, even for a split second, the ECU can't control ignition and fuel delivery accurately. The result is an unstable, idle, fluctuating RPM and noticeable engine vibration. Misfires start to appear because some cylinders receive the ignition command too early or too late. As the sensor continues to fail, these mild vibrations turn into clear jerks, hesitation, and loss of smooth acceleration. If ignored, repeated misfires increase emissions, reduce fuel efficiency, and can overheat or damage the catalytic converter due to unburned fuel entering the exhaust. When rough idle and intermittent misfires occur alongside previous hard start symptoms, it's a strong indicator that the crankshaft position sensor is failing. Number 5. Poor acceleration and power loss. You press the gas pedal expecting smooth acceleration, but the engine hesitates like it's unsure whether to respond. This sluggish feeling often begins subtly, just a slight delay merging onto the highway, but gradually worsens. It's a classic early sign that the crankshaft sensor's timing information is no longer precise. Because the sensor controls spark and fuel delivery timing, faulty readings confuse the engine computer. Power arrives late, unevenly, or not at all. The engine feels like it's fighting itself, unable to deliver full torque. Drivers often describe it as laggy, lazy, or like the engine is dragging extra weight. Ignoring this symptom risks sudden power drops during overtaking or climbing hills, which can become dangerous. A simple road test can expose this problem. Try accelerating from a stop or climbing a small hill. Any hesitation or delayed response usually shows up right away. And if these acceleration issues happen together with rough idle or occasional stalling, the crankshaft position sensor becomes the most likely cause. Number 6. Reduced fuel economy. Many drivers first notice this when their usual fuel budget suddenly stretches shorter. The vehicle seems to run normally, yet miles per gallon quietly slip downward. This happens because the failing crankshaft sensor disrupts ignition timing, forcing the engine to burn more fuel than necessary just to maintain regular performance. When timing becomes inaccurate, combustion efficiency drops. Imagine lighting a match either too early or too late. The burn isn't clean, and energy is wasted. The same happens inside the cylinders. Over time, the engine compensates by injecting more fuel, thinking it needs extra richness to stabilize performance. If left unchecked, poor fuel economy can also lead to carbon buildup, fouled spark plugs, and long-term engine wear. A simple comparison between current MPG and past averages often reveals the earliest signs. When dropping MPG pairs with hard starts or minor misfires, the CKP sensor is usually the hidden root cause. Number 7. Irregular or jumping RPM readings. Drivers often notice this during light acceleration when the tachometer needle jumps unexpectedly, even though engine sound stays normal. It feels like the gauge is lying. In reality, the tachometer depends on crankshaft sensor data, so when the signal becomes erratic, the RPM display becomes equally unreliable. A failing CKP sensor sends inconsistent speed information to the computer, causing RPM readings to spike, drop, or freeze momentarily. Picture the engine's pulse being monitored through a damaged wire. Every glitch becomes a false reading. As the sensor deteriorates, these jumps become more frequent and easier to observe. Ignoring this symptom may lead to unpredictable engine behavior, including stalling or hesitation. Watching the tachometer during idle or gentle acceleration is an easy way to identify early failure. When fluctuating RPMs appear together with starting difficulties or rough idle, the crankshaft position sensor is almost always the underlying cause. A failing crankshaft position sensor doesn't always fail instantly. It gives you warnings. If you recognize these symptoms early, you can prevent stalling, no-start situations, and dangerous power loss while driving. Always address the first signs instead of waiting for the sensor to completely die. If this breakdown helped you understand what to look for, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and check out our other guides on diagnosing engine performance issues.